You've done everything right. You've checked the boxes. You got the job, the degree, maybe even the apartment with the nice lighting and the coffee maker that grinds beans just the way you like. You smile in photos. People ask how you're doing and you say, "I'm good," because what else is there to say? But deep down, something feels wrong. There's this heaviness. A strange, quiet emptiness that creeps in when the noise stops. A voice that whispers, "Is this it?" It doesn't make sense, does it? Your life should feel full. You're surrounded by what you thought you wanted, and yet there's a gnawing sense of nothingness. That's what we're exploring today. Not just why you feel empty, but why so many people, especially in a world of abundance, wake up with a hollowness inside that success, relationships, and even love can't seem to fill. This isn't about being broken. It's about being human in a world that has forgotten how to nourish the soul. Emptiness is not a glitch, it's a signal. And it's time we start listening to it. Let's go back centuries ago. In the 4th century BC, Aristotle said, "Man is by nature a social animal." But he also believed that fulfillment came through eudaimonia, a kind of flourishing that required self-reflection, purpose, and virtue. Fast forward to now, what are we flourishing in? Productivity, consumption, comparison. We've become experts at performing lives that look good on the outside, but inside we've outsourced meaning to external validation. We've mistaken stimulation for satisfaction, and worst of all, we've accepted numbness as normal. Psychologically, this kind of emptiness is often tied to what's called anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. It's common in depression, but it doesn't always come with tears. Sometimes it just comes with nothing, no highs, no lows, just a flat, quiet ache that no one else sees. You wake up, you scroll, you smile when expected. You move through your routine like a ghost wearing a human mask. But here's the thing. Emptiness isn't always caused by trauma or tragedy. Sometimes it's the slow erosion of self in a world that never gives you time to ask, "What do I really want?" We're taught to pursue success, but not taught how to define it. We're encouraged to chase happiness, but not shown how to sit with discomfort. So we learn to distract to perform. Think about the last time you were truly still. Not scrolling, not working, not numbing, just being. How long did it take for anxiety to show up? How long before you reached for something, anything, to fill the silence? This is the paradox of modern life. We're surrounded by more noise, more information, more connection than ever before. And yet we're lonelier, more detached, and more emotionally malnourished than ever. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And emptiness? It's the soul's way of asking, "Where have you gone?" Let's get personal. Think about the roles you play: student, partner, employee, friend. How many of those were chosen? And how many were inherited, expected, or assumed? We spend so much time becoming what others want us to be, we forget to ask who we are when no one's watching. And in that forgetting, we lose touch with our inner world. We trade depth for speed, curiosity for certainty, wonder for efficiency. But the mind, the soul, they don't care about convenience, they care about truth. And truth often comes wrapped in silence, discomfort, and stillness, the very things we've been conditioned to avoid. So when everything seems fine on paper but you still feel empty, it's not because you're ungrateful, or broken, or too sensitive. It's because fine is a cage when your soul was meant to fly. Let's go deeper. There's a theory in psychology called existential vacuum, popularized by Viktor Frankl. It describes the inner void people experience when life lacks meaning, when we're living without a clear sense of purpose or authentic connection. Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, believed that humans could endure immense suffering if they had a reason to. But without meaning, even comfort becomes unbearable. That's what we're up against. A cultural epidemic of meaninglessness, dressed up in nice clothes and filtered through Instagram stories. We've become so good at curating our lives, we've forgotten how to live them. We fear falling behind, but rarely define what we're racing toward. And then, when we get there, when the dust settles, we feel nothing. Because goals without meaning are just distractions in disguise. And the soul, it doesn't care about your checklist. It wants truth, depth, aliveness, not just survival, but significance. Let's talk about social media, because it's relevant. Platforms designed to connect us have made us more self-aware, but not in the healthy way. We've become hyper-conscious of how we're perceived, how we perform, how we fit in. And so we craft digital versions of ourselves that look happy, fulfilled, wise. even when inside we're unraveling. That split, that gap between image and essence, is where emptiness breeds. Because pretending to be someone you're not, even for validation, is emotional self-abandonment. And it adds up. Little by little, the distance between your real self and your performed self grows, until one day you forget who you really are beneath the filters, the posts, the rehearsed replies, and in that forgetting, you feel empty. Because how can you feel full when you're not living your truth? Let's slow down here. Maybe you're listening to this right now thinking, that's me. I feel that good. Not because you're suffering, but because recognizing the emptiness is the first step toward healing it. You can't numb it away. You can't hustle it into silence. You have to face it. And when you do, you'll find that emptiness is not the absence of something. It's the space waiting for you to return, not the version of you that plays nice. Not the version of you that performs strength, but the real you, the messy, the curious, the scared, the questioning. The version of you that dares to ask, what if the life I'm living so isn't mine? That's not weakness. That's the beginning of awakening. The world will offer you labels, expectations, prescriptions for happiness. But the soul doesn't want prescriptions. It wants presence, so stop performing. Start feeling. Sit in the silence long enough to hear your real voice again. Reconnect with the parts of yourself you've abandoned in the name of being fine. Because you were never meant to just exist. You were meant to feel, to question, to create meaning in a world that constantly tries to sell it to you. And yes, it's scary to slow down, to sit with the emptiness, to admit that something's missing. But in that honesty is freedom. Because the moment you stop pretending is the moment you start living. So, why do you feel empty, even when everything seems fine? Because fine isn't real. Because you've outgrown the life you were told to want. Because your soul is starving for something deeper, truer, realer. And maybe, just maybe, that emptiness is an invitation, not to fill it, but to listen to it, to learn from it, and to follow it back to yourself. If this spoke to something inside you, don't let the feeling pass. Sit with it. Let it echo. And if you found value in this journey, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might be feeling the same quiet ache. Because in a world full of noise, we need more voices that speak to the soul. And maybe, just maybe, yours is one of them.